read your questions, I was like, of course. I feel like
Yeah.
I used to ask that a lot, you
Yeah.
know, a lot,
Yeah.
very common, like every day. And then at some point I was like, is this question useful? Is this something that I want to keep thinking about, or is it just noise in my head? And I was like,
Yeah.
maybe I don't want to define my, like, just wear that identity of an artist all the time. Like, the first thing that I identify with, I'm many things. We're complex individuals. So, and I know that I'm happy doing a lot of other things too. I'm not just like, oh, I cannot live without it. Like, yes, I can. I can live without a lot of things. Um,
Mhm.
but when it comes, it's worth the the investment. I always feel like the investment of time, the investment of, and people that I meet, the conversations are totally worth. And life is much more interesting because I have this side, like this part of my life. I don't think quitting needs to even be an existential question. It's like
Mm.
you participate in some ways and you leave other ways at a certain moment, and then you will probably catch up if something opens up and you feel ready and you
Yeah.
do it. And so it's more like navigating life and just being part of what comes up. It's,
Yeah.
oh, of course, you need to actively work if you want to have like make work or apply to opportunities or like go to shows and connect and whatever, but it's there always, and you
Yeah.
can, and you're part of it, you want it or not, you're already there, so you can even be a more active part of it or more passive, but you're part of that, like, ecosystem anyway. So if it ends, like, would you, how could you think this question as a more global,
Yeah.
the art, because many, like, I know it's probably not for us to say or not say, like, whatever, like, it's not going to change the course of its history, but in a way I feel like that question, it's interesting to explore, because in many times in art history, art was ending, the painting was ending when photography was introduced, or like, movies, and even like it's changing. It's social media, AI is the new question, right? And even art, it's always like, there's a lot of artists working with AI and exploring what you can recognize, if it's, like, if you can tell AI from non-AI, or
Yeah.
using that as a tool to create. Um, but even like, it's inevitable that it keeps changing. But quitting, what is that? Like, is that something that the art world as is, like, yes, it already isn't anymore what it
Yeah.
was before.
Yeah. And it's a way to ask what matters to you, what you take and what you leave, and yeah, what you participate in and what you don't. Um, and a way to define what you perceive as happening outside of yourself.
So that's the other career that I always
Mm,
like, I'm very curious about exploring.
yeah.
I've always liked that space of introspection and analysis, and, like, just trying to reframe and look at some things through. And I think artists have that capability of, like, just looking from a different perspective to the same things, and then kind of like changing the whole. But even if for my whole, like, for the rest of my life, if I can only participate in the arts as I'm participating until now, as a facilitator, as a colleague, as a bringing opportunities to other artists for shows or residencies, and making my work,
Yeah.
because the work is important, and I really think my work has a lot to say and a lot to that I will discover through it. It's worth still making, like, it will.
Yeah.
And if at some point it doesn't make sense and I will stop for that year, like, it's not at the end of the world. It's like having a studio. Some years you'll have it, some years you don't. It's fine.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not a better artist or no, less an artist if you don't. I mean, there's lots of ideas that I know that I will be able to do later on that I'm not such in a, in such a rush to do.